Marsh, who is celebrating 10 years of doing stand-up, is about to give you a special. Once again, Audrie fucking Marsh. You bunch of fucking queers, give a big round of applause for Audrie Marsh.
So much for being here, and thank you to Tellus 360. This place is amazing, isn't it? Are you guys having a good time? Everybody having a good time? Oh, all right. It's a comedy show, but a little light housekeeping for the beginning of the show. Okay, I know this is a big crowd, and people might want to get involved in the show. You come to a comedy show, you think, I'm going to be part of this show, and people call out from the audience, but here's the thing, guys. I am part of the deaf and hard of hearing community. That always gets a huge applause. I wear a hearing aid in both ears, but I turn them off when I do comedy because they feed back into the microphone, and also because I don't give a shit what you have to say. Everything these days, like all the TikTok stuff and the Instagram stuff, it's all about crowd work comedians, and you want to see the comedian take the audience to task and everything like that. And so people are started getting really involved in comedy shows, but that really doesn't work for me, okay? Because look, here, watch. Ma'am, what do you do for a living?
I dance.
What? It just gets embarrassing for me and for you, so don't do it. Okay? I'm really glad to be here. This show was part of one of my New Year's resolutions to become a more confident person. I know this seems like a weird job to have for a person who isn't confident, but I'm a super insecure, unconfident person, and so I made a New Year's resolution that I was gonna do more big things and be more confident. But I find that that just doesn't work for me, because every time I try to increase my confidence, the universe will send me something to knock me down a peg or two. The other day I was on a bus, and a stranger said to me, "Do you know what you look like?" And I said, "Harry Potter." And she said, "Yes." But I was gonna say Stephen Hawking. Which is really unflattering and kind of hurt my feelings, but is also not true, right? That'll shake your confidence. I'm also I'm a compulsive people pleaser. Clap if you're a compulsive people pleaser. Only the compulsive people pleasers clap when I say that. I've been like this my entire life, since childhood. It's gotten me into some trouble at some points in my life. One time it got me to smoke crack when I was 15 years old. Do you guys want to know that story? So, I'm not from Lancaster. I grew up in inner city Philadelphia, which is why I talk funny and look like I can fuck you up. But I was walking home from school one day, and there was a woman sitting on her stoop who, in retrospect, was pretty cracky looking. And she said to me, "Girl, do you work?" Which, as an adult, I know means, "Girl, are you a prostitute?" But I was only 15 years old, and I did have a job. I worked at Hush Puppy's Shoes. So I said, "Yeah, I work." And she said, "Do you smoke?" And I didn't, but I didn't want to not look cool. So I said, "Yeah, I smoke." And she said, "Do you want to come inside?" And I said, "Okay." So I went inside and I sat down on her gold velvet couch with like cigarette burns in it. And she started having me like try on outfits. She was like, try this on, try this on. She was putting lipstick on my face being like, who's this hush puppy? You should start working for me. And it was in that moment that I was like, oh, I think this woman is a prostitute. I think she thinks I am a prostitute. And just as an aside, do you know how much crack you have to be smoking to think I'm a prostitute? Like, I have looked exactly like this since I was 8 years old. Like, this is the same jacket. So anyway, I remember this lady asked me if I smoked. She lit a crack pipe. And then she smoked a little bit. And then she handed it to me. So I smoked a little bit. Because this lady thought I was a crack-smoking hooker. And I really didn't want to disappoint her. I'm still like this. I'm still like this. It's 2023. That means we're going on the 3-year anniversary of me pretending to be Jewish at work. That sounds really bad. Sounds really bad. But I promise you, I am pretending to be Jewish at work by doing nothing at all. This is how it started, okay? So you guys remember 2020. And around December of 2020, my job, I work in healthcare. You can thank me later for being a hero. My job decided it's been a very sad year. We're coming up on Christmas, so we're gonna do a secret Santa because this company really has its finger on the button of what healthcare workers needed that the first December of COVID. So the trick of the Secret Santa was like during the Thanksgiving to Christmas season, we were just supposed to sneak little trinkets onto each other's workstations, and I kept coming back to my desk and finding little Jewish trinkets. And here's the thing. I worked for the same company for a long time, but I just didn't share personal information about myself. It's one of my kind of personal policies. I don't tell people personal information about myself at work. And I came back to my desk several times and I found a dreidel. I found that chocolate money, that gelt. This is all true. I found a light up string of Stars of David battery operated across my workstation. And I was like, I think these people think I'm Jewish. And it feels vaguely anti-Semitic for the first piece of personal information I offer these people to be, I am not Jewish. So I just haven't said anything at all. And I really don't, I don't know where this comes from. Like, maybe it's a little bit that I have kind of this Woody Allen mystique. But also, this is Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's a rural area. I work with a lot of straight, older white women. And I feel like they looked at me and they were like, something's different about Audrey. Oh, we know. A Jew. I am the kind of person that the people assume a lot of things about, as soon as they look at me, right? Like, I know exactly what you were thinking of me when I walked out on the stage, right? You were thinking, that is a person whose body can't tolerate gluten. And you're right. But also, people always look at me and they think, that's a radical man-hating feminist. They look at my haircut, they look at the way I dress, and they say, that is a radical man-hating feminist. And I'll tell you what, I'm a feminist, I promise. I don't know how radical I am, and I am certainly not a man-hater, because listen, I am 5 feet tall, I weigh 110 pounds, and sometimes stuff is heavy or high up. I need men in my life, and if you're thinking, nah, she probably knows a whole lot of really butch lesbians, I do, they're terrifying, and I'm not asking for any favors. This is a very, very unfeminist thing to say. But if I am carrying something large and heavy around a man, and he does not offer to help me, I just turn into my dad real quick. I'm like, what are you, queer? Get over here and help a lady. Guys, clap if you're a woman under 5'3". My people! Right here. Okay, so women under 5'3", this joke is for you. Don't worry, the rest of the room, I have a joke for each demographic. The women under 5'3", we all know this to be true. Say you're carrying a large box, maybe you're wheeling a large suitcase. Inevitably, out of nowhere, a man will pop out and say, I could fit you in that. You know this, right? This happens every single time. What is that inclination? They're just like, check out that little bitch. I could kidnap her. In her own stuff. I got mistaken for a little boy. You know, more often than I prefer. It happens to me all the time. A couple years ago, I was at a Phillies game, and it was free t-shirt day for kids under 14. And I am not lying when I say I had to do some work to not get a t-shirt. I was like going through the turnstile, the guy went to hand me a t-shirt, and I was like, oh, I'm all right. And then I was walking like through the stadium, he's still following me, trying to hand me a t-shirt. I'm like, no, seriously, I'm all right. I was on my way up the stairs to my seat in the stadium. This guy's still following me, trying to hand me a t-shirt. And I was like, seriously, bro, I'm all right. And he goes, come on, buddy, take it, it's free. And I was like, I'm a 38-year-old woman. I'm a 38-year-old woman. That's more embarrassing for me than for him, right? Right before all this COVID shit happened, I was flying on a business trip for work, and this is not a brag, it's just to establish that I am, in fact, an adult. I was flying to a conference in Orlando, Florida, where I was a keynote speaker. And I hit the airplane lottery, right? Like I got seated in the emergency exit row of the plane, which I know that's not fair. I'm only 5 feet tall, but you know, that's hillbilly first class, so I took it. So I'm taking my seat, and the flight attendant, she's gone around, she's like closing overhead compartments. And I keep seeing her look back at me. She's doing a double take, looking back at me. I was like, what does this lady want? She's looking back at me, closing the overhead compartments. And then suddenly she's real quiet beside me. She kneels down and goes, young man, are you flying alone? Do you guys know how old you have to be to fly alone in the emergency exit row of a plane? 16. This lady thought I was a 16-year-old young man. And I didn't know what to do. I was like pretty embarrassed. So I wanted to kind of like embarrass her back. So I just kind of feminized my voice and feminized my face. And I looked up at her and I was like, yes, I'm flying alone on business. And I just watched all of the color drain out of this poor woman's face. And she was like, ma'am. There was a little question mark. Ma'am? I am so sorry. I am so sorry. She kept making eye contact with me the rest of the way up the plane. She's closing the overhead compartments going, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She's all the way down at the cockpit making eye contact with me going, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then she disappeared for a little bit. And when she came back, they moved me to actual first class. Thank you. I think at that time I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm mad about this little boy thing anymore. like this is kind of like, this is getting me stuff, like free stuff. Like this is a skill that I have, this situation going on, right? Like there's gotta be other ways that I could monetize this. There's gotta be jobs that I could do with this. Like what is that job where the feds put an adult that looks like a child back into high school so you could like narc on drug dealers? I could do that job, right? I could do that job, except I don't think I would be like cool enough to roll deep with any drug dealers. Like my boss would call me into the office and be like, which kids is it? And I'd be like, I think it's them. And he'd be like, well, what'd you get to go down? I'd be like, nothing, they hate me. But the good news is I'm first chair flute. I'm back in the National Honor Society. And I got a 1400 on my SATs. Are we people with mental illness? Mental illness is really having a moment, right? Remember when we used to be ashamed of it? Now everybody's on Facebook being like, I have anxiety, my boyfriend's a narcissist. I'm a person with pretty bad depression. I call it seasonal depression, but it lasts all year. I've always been an overachiever. I had a pretty scary, everybody else had, a lot of people had really hard times over COVID, and I really only have one very scary situation, and it's right at the very beginning of COVID when all of our days were like kind of running together. I took an accidental overdose of my antidepressant. This is how it happened. So I woke up in the morning and I ate some breakfast and I took my antidepressant and then I went back to bed. And then I woke up in the morning and I took my antidepressant and I ate some breakfast and then I went back to bed. And then I woke up in the morning and I took my antidepressant and I ate some breakfast and I went back to bed, and then I realized that was all the same day. It's mystifying to me that this is even dangerous because look, I'm gonna do a quick commercial for my antidepressant. You guys ready? It goes like this. Wellbutrin. Don't worry, it doesn't do anything. But it turns out, in high enough doses, it will give you a seizure and it could kill you. And I started to feel like really, really weird. Like, I felt like the room was getting bigger, but also that I was getting tunnel vision. I felt like I might need to lay down on the floor or run out the door. I was very shaky and like kind of shivering, but also super hot at the same time. It's a really, really hard feeling to describe to you guys because it's something that I had never experienced before in my entire life. And I was like, is this happiness? And then I had a seizure. I'm really into, I'm super into alternative treatments for depression. And did you know that they're trying fecal transplant for people with depression now? Yeah. If you don't know what that is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's usually used for people that have like really bad tummy issues, but for people with depression, it's just where they take the poop from a happy, healthy person and they shove it up your sad ass. I feel like that's the medical equivalent of quit crying or we'll give you something to cry about. I put the lid back on my water. I don't know. Where are the queer people? That's like less than I thought there would be. There's like 180 people in this room, and there was like 20 people going like, woo! So thank you, straight people, for coming to my show. Straight people, we're still doing that? I can't believe that it's 2023. Do you know how easy it is to be queer now? All you have to do is just shave half your head and declare it. You don't even have to start dating anybody new. You just have to be like, I'm also a queer now. We'll put you in the parade. We're a very welcoming group, you know. I don't know. I'm part of the L in the LGBT. Anybody else? Yeah? I feel like we're dying out, the L's and the LGBT. But I'm 40 years old and I'm sticking with it. Oh. Are you guys, who's old enough to remember when the acronym was GLBT, not LGBT? Yeah, clap if you remember that. It used to be GLBT. So for all you youngins, gather around. I'm going to give you a little bit of queer history. Yeah, so it used to be GLBT, and now it's LGBT. Do you guys know why? It's because the lesbians, this will shock you, complained. The lesbians complained hard enough that gay men have far more privilege than we do, so we got moved to the front of the acronym. Do you guys remember, maybe midway through the pandemic, it was maybe May of 2020, and the media was like, we really need something to bring the American people back together. Things are getting very divisive in this country. And then they were like, oh, we know. Did you hear Ellen's a bitch? And everyone was like, oh, no, not Ellen. Ellen's a bitch. Not the queen of nice. She can't be a bitch. Who knew? Who knew that Ellen was a bitch? You know who knew that Ellen was a bitch? Me. You know why? Because we are bitchy. If we were kind, considerate, tolerant people, open to ambiguity, we would date men. But we're not. We're simply not. Ask any lesbian approaching retirement what she wants to do with her retirement. She will say, open a dog rescue. What a horrible, fun-sucking job. Lesbians are miserable people and we hate fun. It's true. It's true. It's true for me, at least. I don't know. I do love living in Lancaster, but I feel like there's not enough queer people here, right? You go to some larger cities and you're like, geez, oh man, everybody is queer here. I do love the queer community here for the most part, but I feel like I don't see a lot of you in the wild, unless, so I am a sometimes bartender. I bartend here. And I was really excited to get to bartend a queer event, but you know, as proud of a member of the queer community as I am, even I sometimes am like, ooh, not you. So I was bartending a drag show, and it was mostly gay men and their straight lady friends. You know how that goes. And I was like, you know, where are the lesbians at this drag show? And then here come the lesbians, right? You know these lesbians with the snapback hats and the basketball shorts. And the one came up to the bar and she walked like this up to my bar and she went, I'll take 2 hairy vaginas. And I was like, ew. I will take a new subculture to identify with. Do you guys know what's in a hairy vagina? Me neither, I've never seen one. No, so a hairy vagina is tequila, pickle juice, and hot sauce. It's disgusting, right? It's also a super incorrect flavor profile, if anyone's wondering. I used to be kind of one of those quiet queer people, you know? I would say things like, oh, it's part of who I am, but it's not all of who I am. There are many more things about my personality that are much more prominent. And then 2 things happened. First was the Pulse nightclub shooting. And then there was the election of Donald Trump as president. And as soon as that happened, I feel like I just kicked open my door and ripped the sleeves out of my flannel, and I was like, you know what, I'm a homosexual. I don't want to see a straight person. I don't trust you anymore. I don't know who you voted for. I want a gay bus to take me to my gay job. I want to stop at gay Wawa for coffee on the way. I've become an extremely homocentric person. I will say, though, that as a 40-year-old lesbian, I have started to resent somewhat young queers. Young queers, who told you that you could be so good-looking? I'm a 40-year-old lesbian. I came out in the 90s when the most appealing part of that is that you didn't have to care what you looked like. You had to care about causes. You had to buy a whale song CD. But you didn't have to be cute. Now all of you guys are so cute. It's infuriating. Do you know there are whole Pinterest pages dedicated to how to have the best androgynous eyebrows? I have never once given a second thought to my eyebrows, unless I was lighting a campfire or some other butch shit. I don't know how to dress myself. I feel like I know kind of how to dress myself when it's cold outside. I just keep putting on more shirts. But I don't know how to dress myself as we approach summertime. Like, I want to know who gathered up all the lesbians and was like, ladies, this is what we're doing. I imagine it was a gym teacher. Ladies, this is what we're doing. Tommy Bahama button-downs. Novelty prints. Preferably nautical. If you're particularly jaunty, we will accept something like robots or race cars. But for God's sakes, roll your sleeves. I want to know why all the lesbians got invited to this yacht club that I did not. I do not look good in this outfit. I look like Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Oh, I don't know. I've also spent like the last, 25 years trying to find some iteration of butch bathing suit. I love to swim. I have been Googling butch bathing suit since the inception of Google. I was asking Jeeves. For butch bathing suits. I am here to tell you that that is not a thing that exists. You know how they say this thing now? They're like, you want a bikini body? Put your body in a bikini. I support that. I endorse that. It doesn't work that way for a butch. It's not like, oh, you want a butch bathing suit? Put a butch in a bathing suit. No. I put on a bathing suit, I'm suddenly very not butch. It's like, oh, I don't know, this one has a little skirt on it and I didn't have to trim my pubes. Oh, butch bathing suit. I'm misrepresenting myself a bit. You can't just like get a haircut and wear Old Spice deodorant and suddenly you can build a deck. Like I'm not exactly butch, right? I just look like this. A couple weekends ago, I went to an all-women's rugby tournament, and it was. I don't play rugby, okay? I'm just contractually obligated to attend at least one event like that per year, where the lesbian mafia comes to my house and tells me I'm not allowed to dress like this anymore. And afterwards, we all went out to the bar, and my like big rugby-playing lesbian friends were all talking about BDE. Do you guys know what that is? I didn't. Do you guys know what that is? Call it out if you know what it is. Right, big dick energy. Did you know lesbians can have that? Most audience are like, yeah, I didn't know. And then I was like, what about me, guys? Do I have it? My big lesbian friends were like, no, Audrey. But you got big camp counselor energy. Ouch, but also true. I don't know. Also, they were talking about being a gold star lesbian. Clap if you know what that is. A gold star lesbian. For those of you who don't know, these two gentlemen in the front specifically, a gold star lesbian is a lesbian that's never had sex with a man. I won't ask who's a gold star lesbian in the crowd, because you know what? I think that's a stupid distinction. And I have heard that it's biphobic, but that's not why I don't like it. I just think that people are surprised to learn this about me, that I am not a gold star lesbian. I know that I seem like I should be, but I am not. I just don't understand, like, what is the gold star for? What are you, the decorated general of the lesbian army? What, did you go to lesbian West Point and graduate an officer? That's not that impressive. That means that you haven't seen combat. I've been in the trenches. I consider myself a Purple Heart lesbian. Oh. I don't know. I'm not a butch lesbian. If I'm any kind of butch, it's a musical theater butch. I didn't think that was a thing, and then I met like 4 other musical theater butches. Just me and those 4 ladies. This is my favorite time of year. Springtime is amazing. I know that that's why most of you think that this is a great time of year, but I think this is a great time of year because it features my most favorite thing in the world. And that is community theater productions of Jesus Christ Superstar. And when I say that Jesus Christ Superstar is my favorite thing in the world, I don't mean it's my favorite Andrew Lloyd Webber production. I don't mean that it is my favorite musical. I mean that it is my favorite thing in the world. Anybody else? Cool. I love Jesus Christ Superstar, and more than just Jesus Christ Superstar, I love a community theater performance of Jesus Christ Superstar, because I will tell you what, there is not a single bad community theater performance of Jesus Christ Superstar. That is a scientific fact. I did not make that up. It's called Christ's Pendulum. The best community theater performance of Jesus Christ Superstar I ever saw was at the Hershey Theater in Hershey, Pennsylvania in 2011, and I don't know how they did this, but they scored Ted Neely. Oh my God! Ted Neely, who I'm sure all of you know, was the star of the 1973 Norman Jewison titular film production of Jesus Christ Superstar, the only film to be filmed on location in Jerusalem in the 70s ever. Guys, I'm going to talk about this for a while. Ted Neely, star of the 1973 film Jesus Christ Superstar when he was 29. This was 2011 in Hershey, Pennsylvania. If you're doing the math correctly, this man was 67 years old. That is an old Christ. And to his credit, he did an amazing job. His voice is still great, but we were all a little concerned about him. And then we got to the Garden of Gethsemane. You guys familiar? The Garden of Gethsemane in Jesus Christ Superstar, my one person in the crowd. Yeah. Well, in this scene, Jesus Christ himself has to drop to his knees, and I'm not even going to do it. I'm only 40. He dropped to his knees with a very dramatic thunk. And the whole crowd went, ooh. But he did it, and he didn't miss a beat. Not a single beat. He was on his knees. I'm not going to drop to my knees. Fuck you guys. He's on his knees, and he's still singing after the ceremonious thunk. But then poor Ted Neely had to get up. And this is how he got up. He like dropped to his one butt cheek and went, oof. And then he dropped to his other butt cheek and onto an elbow. And then he slowly got up like this. And he finished the song like this. And when he finally stood the entire way up, the crowd erupted in applause. But then it was followed by a very sincere silence because we know how this show ends, right? They're gonna crucify this guy. And I don't mean just crucify the guy by like leaning across against the wall of the stage and having him stand against it. No, this is the Hershey Theater. They have Ted Neely. They're pulling out all of the stops. There are pulleys, there are harnesses, there is a cross that ascends into the sky. At this point, it's just elder abuse. I really think like the entire audience would have been behind a complete rewrite of the play. Like, let's just get the high priest back in here to be like, maybe we'll let him die of old age. He's getting up there. We could just wait. Guys, give it up for Tellus 360 one more time. I really love this place, I really do. I'm married to the event coordinator. So she put all of this together. I am a married lesbian. If you happen to be in this crowd by accident, these two gentlemen in the front, and you're against that, the Supreme Court's about to clean that right up. I'm kidding. I mean, I hope I am. No, I am married, and I know that I talked a little shit on straight people, but I do love one particular straight person. I married her. It's true. The woman I married was consummately straight until she was 37 years old, and turns out, gentlemen of the audience, this is just a lot to compete with. I used to be like really self-conscious, right? Like when we first got together, I don't know, like there's a lot to explain, right? There's a lot to explain. Like, people always ask lesbians, how do you guys even have sex? You know? People ask us that all the time. How do you guys even have sex? Stop asking us that. We don't know. It's always like, I don't know, we watched that Work a Whale documentary and we cried for a while. We held each other, we talked about our hopes and dreams, we made out, we didn't make out. Was that sex? I feel like straight people have it really easy, like just one thing goes in the other thing. He comes, she doesn't, you fall asleep to CSI. You always know, straight people always know when sex is over, right? We just have second and third base over and over again until one of us dies of exhaustion. But I really used to be very self-conscious when my wife and I first got together, and I'd be like, babe, you have to miss dick, right? Like, I don't know, is this enough? Like, I bet you miss dick. How much do you miss dick? I bet you miss dick. And she was so nice about it. She'd be like, babe, listen, no, this is perfect. I can't believe I didn't come to this realization sooner. And then the first present that she ever bought me, it was Valentine's Day. We got together around Thanksgiving. This is Valentine's Day. The first present that she ever got me was a dildo from the internet, where she just like didn't scroll down and look at the specifications. Do you guys want to know how much she missed dick? Yes. Like this much. I opened the box and I was like, ah! Is this what you're used to? And she, luckily, was like, ah! No! We do use it. Just like not for its intended purpose. Right, it's one of those guys with a suction cup on the back, and our whole bathroom is tile, so we just like stuck it to the bathroom wall, and that's where we hang our little hand towel. I'm glad that you laughed at that joke. My mom sometimes comes to my comedy shows, and she's like super great through my whole set to that joke. And every time she's like, you always have to tell that one joke. And I'm like, which joke, Mom? She hates that joke. She also will never use our bathroom when she comes in there. My wife and I, we're about to, on May 1st, celebrate our 7th wedding anniversary. We've been together for a long time, and we've started to have like some conversations about stuff like, you know, what's next in our relationship. Guys have any idea what's next in our relationship? No. Some people said dogs. We have 2 of those. Are you kidding? We're lesbians. A lot of people say kids, but no, it's, we've been talking about polyamory. Because that's the traditional gift for queers at 7 years. We give each other the gift of polyamory. But I feel like we're too old now to give each other the gift of polyamory. Like, that really seems like a young man's game, doesn't it? Like, when I think about polyamory, I think like that's just like one more person to watch up all my shows before I get to them. I don't know. Also, I've never been having a fight with my wife and thought, you know what would fix this? Another wife. We don't really fight, my wife and I, we don't really have fights. We have one fight, okay? And we're gonna use this entire crowd of 180 people to arbitrate this fight, all right? So, the one fight that we have is about bugs in the house. Specifically spiders in the house. I know that the person in the couple with this haircut is probably supposed to remove the spiders from the house. But I won't do it. She made me live in Lancaster County. I'm from inner city Philadelphia. The spiders here cast a shadow. Like I see their shadow before I see the spider. I am very terrified. I wouldn't say that I have a phobia of spiders, just these spiders. And I think that my wife should be responsible for removing them from the house. My wife has an actual phobia, okay? She's afraid of fish. Your response to that is correct. That is a stupid fear. She's afraid of all fish, like fish on TV, dead fish at the grocery store, like any surprise fish. She is terrified of them, and I do feel like I would be more protective of her and her fish fear if she was a little bit nicer to me about the spiders, but she's always like, here I come to get the itty bitty little spider that's hurting your feelings. Oh, look at the big butch now. She gets them out of the house. I don't know. I just feel like the fish thing is dumb because, like, it's avoidable. Like, I don't know, has anybody ever been in the shower and had a fish pop out of the drain? No? Has anybody been minding their own business and had a fish drop down from the ceiling on a string of its own making? No? I will give her this one. I have never gone to the dentist and encountered a surprise tank of spiders. So that's one. I do, I have a straight best friend. I have a lovely group of queers that I'm very close to, but my very best friend in the whole wide world is a straight woman. Our parents were pregnant with us at the same time. They wanted us to be best friends from the beginning, and it has worked out that way. We've been best friends for life, but I do feel like our paths have gone different directions. Like, for example, she got really tall and like really beautiful and very successful and is super heterosexual. And this little Where's Waldo motherfucker you see before you is what happened to me. But I do love her very much, and recently, like about a year ago, she asked me if I would be the maid of honor in her wedding, which is really, really sweet, and heteronormative and sweet. And she said, you know, we've been friends for life. You know, we've loved each other since we were in diapers. I want you there at my wedding. And I said, of course I will be there, but then I just like closed my eyes and I was like, I don't want to wear a dress. But she knew that that's what I was thinking, so she was like, listen, no, Audrey, you wear whatever you are most comfortable in. I love this girl so much. And then she said, here's the best part. We are going to Barbados. And I was like, oh no. I think it's illegal to be gay in Barbados. And they're going to be able to tell right away. In fact, I think 2 people were just killed in Barbados for being gay last week, and I don't actually know if all that's true about Barbados, but I didn't want to tell her how poor I am. And she said, she's so kind, she was like, Audrey, no, that's fine, I totally understand not everybody's going to be able to make it on a destination wedding, but you are still my maid of honor. We're having a reception, like the day we get back. There'll be a photographer, there'll be cake. You're still the maid of honor at my wedding. I want you in all the pictures beside me. And then she introduced me to the other bridesmaids, Tanya and Crystal, another Crystal. And they were all tall and beautiful and heterosexual and successful, and I was like, well, I don't fit in at this wedding. And I told you before, like, I'm not confident, I'm a little insecure, so, you know, while all these bitches were in Barbados, I did the only thing that I could think of. I joined Planet Fitness. Not for the fitness, but for the complimentary tanning. Because all these people were going to come back from Barbados beautiful and heterosexual and tall and successful and tan, and I thought I could be one of those things. Tan. But I want you to know that when you go up to the desk at Planet Fitness and you ask them for the key to the tanning room, they don't go to give you any instructions, and they don't stop you and say, whoa, 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 little buddy, I don't think this is a good idea. They just hand you the key and set you free into this little room. And the only frame of reference that I have for tanning is the Jersey Shore. So I removed all of my clothes, parts of my body that have never seen the light of day. There was like a little dial timer on the wall. And I thought to myself, how long have I ever stayed out in the sun before spontaneously combusting? 40 minutes? Well, this dial only goes to 25, so that should be safe. I just cranked that shit right up. Yeah. Yeah. We just got the pictures back from that wedding. And it's like my gorgeous friend and her handsome, successful husband, beautiful bridesmaid, beautiful bridesmaid, beautiful bridesmaid. That little boy needs to go to the hospital.